Finally, after so long, the basketball world will finally see what Zion Williamson is made of on January 22nd against the San Antonio Spurs. However, as excited as many are, there are also just as many questions. Many are questioning whether or not Zion is in playing weight, whether he's in playing shape. How is he going to affect the Pelicans' offense and their defense as well? How is he going to affect the play of people such as Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram? And how is he going to affect the rotation of the Pelicans moving forward? Let's start with the rotations, and currently as the starting lineup, the Pelicans roll out Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday when healthy, JJ Redick or Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram at the power forward, and Derek Favors at the center. In my opinion, the Pelicans would probably replace JJ Redick in this lineup, moving Ingram to the small forward position while having Williamson play the power forward. So what does this do for the starting lineup? Well, with the combination of Derek Favors and Zion, they will be getting a lot more rebounds. Zion was a very good rebounder in college, averaging 8.9 per game, and in the NBA this should translate to about 8 or 7 per game, depending on how aggressive Zion is. Another positive that I see with the addition of Zion into the starting lineup is the Pelicans pick and roll game will be greatly upgraded. What I mean by this is that Zion will easily become the Pelicans' best roll option, and the other teams would have to deal with Zion rolling to the rim, while Ingram, Holiday, or Lonzo are driving to the basket. And on top of this, because Zion is such an effective finisher off the pick and roll and near the basket, the help defender from the weak side would have to come over, leaving a very capable shooter open. Zion should also be an upgrade on the defensive end, given that he has the size and strength to bang with the bigs down low, and he also has the athleticism to somewhat keep up with perimeter players, which should make him a somewhat serviceable defender on switches. And by serviceable defender, I mean he definitely lacks the foot speed to keep up with guards such as Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Damian Lillard, but he will more than make up for it with his athleticism. If he gets beat, he'll be able to make up for it because of his vertical jump and his shot blocking ability. So to sum it all up, he's going to give the Pelicans a lot better defensive versatility, he's going to give them a much better pick and roll game, and he's going to give them a lot better rebounding. But there's not all positive when it comes to Zion coming into the starting lineup. The biggest issue that I see and a lot of people see is that Zion has the lack of ability to shoot. And what I mean by this is that he can't really shoot three-pointers, shown by his 33.8% in college on just 2 attempts per game. He's an inconsistent free throw shooter at 64% in college on 6.2 attempts per game, and he doesn't really have a mid-range shot either. So how does this translate to a game situation? Well, imagine an isolation in crunch time. It'd usually be Brandon Ingram or Drew Holiday at the top of the key isolating against their man. You would probably have Lonzo on the weak side wing or the weak side corner, you'd have Favors under the basket for rebounding, and you would have either Holiday or Ingram, depending on who is handling the ball, spot up on the other weak side wing or corner depending on where Lonzo is. So where does this leave Zion? You can't really put him on the strong side wing or corner because he can't really shoot threes, and he won't really space the floor as effectively as someone as a JJ Redick or a Josh Hart would. If Zion were to spot up on the strong side wing or corner, his man could easily sag off and clog a driving lane with not much to worry about. Another possibility in this situation is that Zion would go to the short corner that Favors isn't occupying at that moment and hopefully crash for some rebounds if Ingram or Holiday were to miss off the ISO. But because he's down there, his defender is down there as well, making the chances of contesting a layup or short jumper much higher than if he was a good shooter and could spot up in the corners or the wings. Another issue that I see with Zion is that he's an inconsistent free throw shooter, which could lead Gentry to bench him later on in games that are close down the stretch. He would have to sub in a player such as JJ Redick who he could trust with hitting free throws. But they would be hurt down the stretch defensively because they wouldn't have a player such as Zion banging with the post players below. They would instead have someone like Brandon Ingram or even Drew Holiday switch on to the other big men that Derek Favors is not guarding. The Pelicans would also sorely miss his rebounding in a situation where they would need to grab a defensive rebound to seal the game at that point. However, I expect Zion later in his career to improve his free throw shooting to around 75 and 80% as opposed to the 65 to 70% range he's shooting now. And for the last segment of the video, I would like to go over who I think benefits most from Zion's return and who gets hurt the most in Zion's return. And in my opinion, the player who benefits the most is definitely Lonzo Ball. As of the time of this recording, Lonzo is currently in the best stretch of his career so far, averaging 16.7.5 6 rebounds, and 9 assists per game, and the addition of Zion could only bolster his assist numbers even more. Imagine Lonzo, who already is one of the best fast break point guards in the league, have a target like Zion every time down the floor. You should expect to see a lot of Lonzo to Zion lobs on either social media or ESPN. This isn't just a one-way street, however. Lonzo would definitely help Zion as well. Given his great court vision and his great passing ability, he would give Zion a lot of easy buckets that he would probably have to work a lot harder for if he was on a different team with a different point guard. However, in contrast, the biggest person who I think will be impacted by Zion's return is actually their best player right now, Brandon Ingram. Ingram is currently in a breakout season and he's playing like a superstar, averaging 25.6 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 4.3 assists, all on efficient percentages. But because of how effective Zion is down below and all the hype surrounding his name, the Pelicans will definitely get him involved in the offense more often than not. And what does this mean for Ingram? It means less shot attempts for him, and it means less chances with the ball in his hands, which he needs to be effective. Should Zion be as good as he was in college, expect Ingram's shot attempts to drop off a bit from 19 a game to about maybe 15 or 16 per game, and this in turn will lower his points per game to about 23 to 24 points per game. This is given that Zion still has the ability he had in college. I would also expect Ingram's rebounding numbers to drop off just a bit from about 7 per game to maybe 5.5 to 6 per game because Zion would be crashing for the boards instead of him now. However, even with all this, I expect Ingram's numbers to still be those of a superstar. In fact, I expect his assists per game to go up from 4 a game to about 5 to 5.5. And finally, to sum up this video, Zion is going to be an extremely effective interior force for the Pelicans. He's going to be an extremely effective inside scorer, rebounder, and he'll be a solid shot blocker and post defender. However, he will have some issues when it comes to shooting and floor spacing. Thank you very much for watching the video, and comment down below what you think Zion's season is going to look like. Do you think he's going to hurt the Pelicans, or do you think he's going to benefit them greatly? Thank you very much for all the support lately. We're at about 515 subscribers. Can we get to 1,000 soon? I definitely think so. But with all that being said, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications so you know when I upload a video next. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day or night wherever you are.